Miami Heat legitimately got cheated last night in the biggest game of their NBA season against the Indiana Pacers, as both of these teams were battling for the 6th seed, the last definitive playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. We'll break down what happened and where the article came from on this episode of Heat Digest, where we create daily Miami Heat content. So if that interests you, subscribe to the channel, as 84% of you guys currently watching this video are not currently subscribed. We're on the road to 1,300 subscribers. So if you're part of that 84%, scroll down, click the subscribe button. It means the world to us over at Heat Digest. We do see and appreciate all of the love and support. So once again, thank you guys so very much. But now let's get to it and break down how this Miami Heat team legitimately got cheated last night in what is and was the biggest game of their NBA season. Not only up to this point, but I know we have 4 games remaining, but this was by far and away the most important game this entire season. Now, before we get to it, last night when I made the recap, yes, I was aware of these very questionable calls. The reason I didn't just come out and just start blasting the referees and everything else and not just focusing on the Miami Heat and what the Miami Heat didn't do was because the Miami Heat came out, and like I said in the recap, they gave up almost 40 points in the opening quarter. Now, they were playing from behind the entire game. Yes, our fourth quarter looked a lot better. Yes, our second half looked a lot better overall. But again, you cannot give a team like the Indiana Pacers such a massive start to a game where they're allowed to get into their offense, really get things going, hit a lot of early shots, and allow the ball to start rolling, because it's just going to snowball from there on out unless there's an entire 180 or even a 360-degree change in that game. And you can't expect to be able to do that night in and night out and then become victorious, especially against teams that are going to be in the playoffs and that you are going to have to battle against in the playoffs. So that's why I didn't come out and blast the refs, because it's still on the Miami Heat. They should have came out and played a much more effective and smoother operating game to start with, but this is just ridiculous at this point. The Miami Heat were simply cheated. NBA admits to crucial calls going against Miami Heat at the end of Indiana Pacer game. If you click on the picture, it takes you to the article where this is what you are opened up with in the opening sentence of the article. The NBA's last 2-minute report revealed that multiple crucial calls went against the Miami Heat at the end of their loss against the Indiana Pacers on Sunday. Yes, this was yesterday, April 7th, and it was, to say the least, it's horrible. This cannot happen. Yes, the Miami Heat didn't play great. Yes, whatever. Down the stretch of this game, and a team that was rallying with all the momentum, it felt like, on their side as they were really making an effort, who cut at what was a 22-point lead during this game down to 2 at one point, with a chance to tie the game or even possibly take the lead, and we didn't even shoot ourselves in the foot as the refs just simply they got it wrong. And this is, if you scroll through the article, this is one of the opening statements after obviously this, where it says they did miss multiple calls. Here's the first example. According to the last 2-minute report, Pacers guard TJ McConnell should have been called for a foul on a 3-point shot attempt by Tyler Hero with 55.1 seconds left in the game. McConnell made contact with part of Hero's hand that is, and I quote, not on the ball during his release and affects his jump shot attempt. Now, that was the end of the quote. That at 55.1 seconds left in this fourth quarter, the score of this game was 108 to 111, and he was fouled on a 3-point attempt. I don't have to sit here and tell you guys that if we make all 3 of those free throws, this game is now tied. Okay, it was a 3-point difference. Without those free throws, we are now even in a bigger problem. We go on. Now, we keep going. Not only that, but Miami was also incorrectly called for a personal foul when trapping Pacers big man Miles Turner with 17.1 seconds left in the game. Now, for more perspective, this foul came at 17.1 seconds left in the game, and the score was 111 to 113. Once again, a one-possession game. Once again, an ability for the Miami Heat not only to tie the game, but possibly even take the lead with a massive shot. Now, if you were watching this game down the stretch especially, and you saw the foul on TJ McConnell on the Tyler Hero jump shot, yes, it was bad, but it was not as bad as this. I actually fell out of my chair when I was watching this, and the foul was called against Bam Adebayo. They were running that Miami Heat trap defense where they were really switching everything on the inbound pass, making it just so difficult for the ball to be inbounded to even start the play to get across half court and then even run out more time than that. Whatever, they do what they can. They get across half court, and the ball lands in Miles Turner's hands. And that's when the Miami Heat really jumped on their opportunity, and they suffocated him with Bam Adebayo. And I believe it was either Hayward Highsmith or Caleb Martin coming to double with Bam Adebayo. Bam cleanly knocked the ball away, and when the ref blew the whistle, you knew when Bam reacted, it was not a good call. There was no way for the Miami Heat to really challenge it and overturn this call. Due to that, the Indiana Pacers did have a side out, or they shot free throws because they were in the bonus. Overall, not what the Miami Heat needed, and it was absolutely crucial. You go on in the article, and it goes on to say this: those were the only two calls that were deemed incorrect by the NBA in the final 2 minutes, which is unfortunate since they both went against the Heat. While the Heat are looking to more likely to end up in the play-in tournament after Sunday's loss, they still shouldn't be too worried about their current standing. Well, that's easy to say when you are not a Miami Heat fan, supporter, or a part of the team. Now, because with that loss, yes, we'll get to this in just a second, that is the playoff standings, but here are the Eastern Conference standings as of right now. We are now in the 8th seed due to the fact that not only did we lose last night to the Indiana Pacers in such a cluster of a game, to say it in a very polite manner, we also had the Philadelphia 76ers win in double overtime thanks to a 52-point performance from no one else than the Tyrese Maxeys of the world, who we obviously didn't draft, and that's why he destroys us night in and night out whenever we decide to play the Philadelphia 76ers. We didn't play them, but Tyrese Maxey was still heard by the Miami Heat, as not only did they win, he had a 52-point performance, propelling them to a double overtime win, where they now sit in the 7th seed due to the Miami Heat loss, as they are a half game ahead of us at 44 wins and 35 losses, as the Miami Heat are sitting at 43 wins and 35 losses. Not a great game. Overall, just not a great night for this Miami Heat team. And now talk about the standings for the playoff picture. As of right now, this is what it's currently sitting at for the Miami Heat, sitting in the 8th seed. We are playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. This is, again, as of today. We still have 4 games remaining at Atlanta, at home against Dallas, and then 2 at home against Toronto. Yes, things can change depending on how these last 4 games go for this Miami Heat team. But if the season ends today, right now at this very moment on April 8th, around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are playing in the play-in as the 8th seed, and the winner goes on to, of the 76ers and Miami Heat play-in game, goes on to play the number 2 seed, Milwaukee Bucks. But again, these seeds can change with just a single game, as if we look at the top of this conference, excluding the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks are only 1 game ahead of the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks, who are currently sitting at 46 and 32 on this NBA season, just 1 game back from the 2 seed. So again, this can all change so very quickly. If we notice, the Cleveland Cavaliers dropped from that beloved 2/3 spot, as they were intertwined with the Milwaukee Bucks for a long period of time this NBA season, have now dropped all the way down to the 5th seed, as they've lost 3 in a row, have gone 3-7 over their last 10, now only a half game back from both this Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks, who are sitting at the 3 and the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. It is going to be a whirlwind, to say the least, for this Miami Heat. It's an absolute, I don't even know what to say. It's just absolutely horrible. I would have rather not been told the truth in this case. And that's horrible to think, but the fact that they got these 2 massive calls, and both these calls came in 1 possession games for the Miami Heat, down, yes, and who were rallying. It seemed like they were really putting things together after a horrible, really horrible first quarter and not great first half. This second half, and especially that fourth quarter for this Miami Heat team, really seemed like things were going together. They were putting pieces together. Things were starting to roll. We were going to be able to steal a win in a game that didn't seem like we really deserved it during that first half, and because of that loss, we feel like we are in a buried position. Not only did we lose the 7th seed and the ability to take the 6th seed from the Indiana Pacers, but we dropped to the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. Absolutely horrible for this Miami Heat team for this to happen with just 4 games remaining in this NBA season. But again, going to be very interesting to see how things play out from here on forward. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest. Thank you for watching.